Hi everyone, this is Carla with www.intuitivesparks.com. You can find me on Facebook at Intuitive Sparks with Carla. This is Chia, so she has wanted to be in my lap for a moment, giving me lots of love and kisses, support definitely. I wanted to tell you that this is part 3 of our video tonight, and we are discussing my journey with connecting with the spirit realm, supernatural, with God. I'm trying not to say so much, but we're all normal. So just a part of the way that I'm trying to take you on my journey to teach you of what I have gone through in my life. She is distracting me just a bit tonight, so you guys have to forgive me. My mom's gotten on me as well about saying you guys, so I know for a fact, Mama, hey Mama, I know you're watching my videos. I did not realize you were, but I know that you are now. We all go through different things, and I have got some of my viewers talking to me about how do I come out to my family that I have these gifts because they're very religious. I'm just giving you my journey in life to try to help you all out in some way. So this is Chia. I'm going to take a quick pause and put her up for a second because she is just loving me to death. But is she not so precious? Chia, can you say hello to the camera? Say hello, Gigi. Anyway, you guys, I'll be right back with you. Thanks. So if you all can notice behind me, this door here is shut, but this over here is like a Jack and Jill bathroom, and Chia had snuck in and jumped in my lap and distracted me for a bit, but it's all good. But I had to remove her and put her with her daddy so I could concentrate because she is a mama's girl, loves lots of love. So what I left off with in my original story, talking about my dad in part 2, was my mom had the back surgery, and I had stayed with her for a full week, and I told you guys about seeing the picture, my dad at the fish pond, and it had put me on a mission. And the mission was to find out everything that I could find out about life after death, the spirit world, everything. Anything I could research and learn. I wanted to know it. And this began my journey into becoming a medium, seer, psychic, prophet, whatever term you want to put on it. So at the time, I didn't say anything to my husband David about this. I just took a journey on my own, a journey that came deep from my soul, deep from my heart chakra, my spirit. The light was leading me. And on that way home that day, I listened to hospice nurses talking about patients and stories that patients had seen, angels and spirits, because I told you guys my dad saw that. And I listened to one of the things I remember Googling was like how to connect with loved ones that had passed. And like I told you, I didn't have a clue as to what I was doing. I knew that I could connect with my dad, and that was my mission. And I knew if I could do this, that there was a way that I could somehow help everybody. And so I just made it my 100% mission in life. So on the way home that day, I listened to a whole lot of hospice nurses. I don't know how I came up to do the life after death, but I did. So I took it as a sign, and it guided me. And I listened to stories of hospice nurses. And there was this one nurse, And she had, gosh, she had worked for hospice for 30-something years and just had story after story of all of her dying patients being greeted by loved ones, just like my dad had been greeted. And, the more I heard, the more I was just totally into it. So you have to remember, I had a 5-hour drive home that particular day that I came home from my mom's after experiencing my father's death, my mom having major back surgery. And I had listened to the hospice nurses, and I somehow got into how to connect with loved ones that had passed. And I don't remember who it was. I listened to several different people, but I remember one thing that somebody said, and there will be times in the next series of videos that I'll be able to tell you the groups that I went to, so you guys can go to those groups because they're very good and very legitimate groups to learn how to open yourself up to receive spirit. But I do not remember this. But I remember them saying that the easiest way for a past loved one to communicate with you here in the earth plane would be through dreams. And I was like, and they said, all you have to do is just totally feel it and ask them to come to you in your dreams. And so I did. I got home that day in the car when I was listening to this. I said, Bill, I love you and I miss you dearly. And I was crying. And I said, can you please come to me in my dreams and just give me a sign that you're okay, or let me know in some way that you're okay. And I remembered back to the video that they said it may not happen that particular night, but it may happen in weeks, 2 weeks later. And it did not happen that night, but it happened about 3 nights later. So from what I learned in the video, it would help if you put a picture of the person you were trying to connect with by your bed, and I did that. Immediately, as soon as I got home, I had his picture by my bed. I set my intent. I talked to him. I asked him to come visit me in my dreams, and it took a few nights. But I had the most beautiful dreams, you guys. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can explain it to you. So my dad came to me a few nights later in my dream, and it was actually at the house that I grew up in. And he came, I don't know if you remember me talking about the back porch that he sat on in the number 2 video. But there was a long walkway around to that back porch that he had personally put in. It was like a paver walkway. And as I walked around that walkway to the back porch, there he was. And he was smiling. I'm going to try not to cry. You guys know I'm so emotional. And when I walked around that walkway, my mama was there. And Bill was there. And he said, hey, Totes, what's going on? And I immediately ran up and hugged him. And now this is all in my dream. In my dream, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. I love you. And I hugged him. And I said, we have to go inside because Harry's inside. And I said, and I know he would love to see you. And I told my brother Harry about this dream as soon as it happened. And my parents, my mom and Bill, had built an independency house off the side of their house for my grandma that had died several years before my dad died, right after Rex was born, probably in like 2003. And in my dream, Harry, my brother, was over in that side of the house, in the Independency side of the house where Baba's home was. And I was like, oh, you got to follow us and come over and see Harry and all. So as I hugged his neck and loved him, Mama and Bill were together, and I was leading the way, and I was taking Bill to see Harry. And we walked through the house. We walked in off that back porch, in through the kitchen door, through their hallway of the main house, through the laundry room, into the Florida room, up into my grandmother's different living areas. Separate but connected living area. Oh my God. As soon as I walked in there, Harry was sitting over in the corner. Harry is still living. That's my stepbrother. Beside of him was my papa, Bill's dad, that passed away when I was 12 years old. And he had on like a pair of white shorts. They almost looked like boxers. So he was sitting there pretty much naked in his underwear. And then right through that area, you could visibly see the kitchen. There stood my grandma, who I called Baba, her sister Sally, and I walked in and I said, hey Bill, hey Papa, hey Baba, hey Sally. I loved all their necks, and I said, here's Harry. And Bill saw Harry, and that is Harry's dad, real dad, my stepfather, and he hugged his neck and everything, and I woke up. Over. Dream was over. But it was a major connection. I truly believe that was not only Bill's way of coming through to me, that it was my granddad's way, my grandma's way, my aunt's way. And I shared that with my brother. And it was just a true, I shared it with my mama too, true amazing experience. And at that time, I had told Mama, I'm like, all you got to do is think about him. He's going to come to you in your dreams. She hadn't gotten to that. And now I know it's because she still was suffering from the trauma of losing him. I was as well, but I had opened myself. I had opened my heart up enough to receive his spirit in, if that makes sense to you. So not only in that dream did I receive my dad, I received my grandma, her sister, her husband, and it was just really amazing, a true blessing. So that was definitely a wonderful experience that I wanted to tell you guys about. And that is an experience from God. But I told you at the beginning of the series that how do you know if we're dealing with lightness or darkness? And I'm fixing to tell you how I knew, because I had no clue as to what I was doing. But I kept asking my dad after that point to come to me in my dreams. And I'm going to tell you, unless you're truly prepared, the darkness can come in, and you better know how to handle it. So I must tell you first, I'm so sorry for the background noise. David and Chia are apparently playing with her ball, which she loves so much, and she will bark and chase it. But what I wanted to let you know was, this was just 1 week after I had gotten home from my mom's back surgery, so a couple of weeks since my dad had passed. And I had had that wonderful dream connecting with him. And I had not learned or researched any further to try to figure out how to connect with loved ones that had passed. So I kept asking him to come back to me in my dreams. And I told you guys earlier in the first and second video that I had a very strong Christian background. I am a true believer in God, and I had an experience that you guys are gonna, you won't believe. So I had asked, before I went to bed that night, I'd asked my dad, I had done this like repetitive several nights, asked my dad to come back and visit me in my dreams again. And this particular night, he did. He came back to visit me in my dreams, but it was not my dad. This is where you have to learn to discern the true love and light of God versus demon spirits and the devil, because it is so for real. So I had done the same thing. I had said a prayer and I had asked Bill to please come back. I'd asked God to let him come back, and just, I was longing to hear from him more. I wanted to hear more. And same scenario. This dream was the same scenario. Let me see if I can remember. I walked around the back porch area. I told you guys his favorite spot was on the back porch, and there was I told you in the first or second video about the koi fish pond, and he was sitting there on a bench with my mom, and I walked around and I was just like, oh, so good to see you. And I was like, Mama, isn't it so good to see you? Because the whole time since I experienced this first dream, I had told her about it. And I was like, Mama, all you got to do is ask him to come visit you in your dreams. That's all you got to do, and he will. And she was sitting there beside him, just longing to hear from him and to hear loving words or I love you, Patsy, anything. And I was standing in front of them. They were sitting on like this metal couch type metal swing thing that would go back and forth, if you guys know what I'm talking about. He was sitting here on this side, and she was sitting here on this side. And he was talking to us like normal. And she was telling him, I love you, and all this stuff. And I was like, it's so good to see you and everything. And then all of a sudden, his voice went from what I was used to hearing to a computerized, devilish type voice. He went from I love you too to now this is in my dream. So immediately when I heard this in my dream, it's called lucid dreaming, and I'm going to have to get on that on another video as part of this series that I'm talking to you guys about. But lucid dreaming is where you are aware of what's going on in your dream, and you're aware and awake enough to act upon things that are happening in your dream. And as soon as I heard this, because I am a believer in God and I am a child of God, it scared me so bad. He was sitting here, okay, and Mama was sitting right beside of him here, and he started like this robotic talk, which was not him. Of course, that was not him. And I knew it, and it scared me so bad. And I immediately, when I heard it, I pointed my finger to him, just like this, and I said, and I was awake enough to know what was going on, if that makes sense. That's what lucid dreaming is. I said, for God so loved the world. And as soon as I got for God out, poof, he vanished. that was a evil spirit trying to come in to portray himself as my dad. Because being a Christian and believing in God, I had, instead of letting it scare me, I had enough sense about me to say inside my head, this is not my dad. And I knew it was not him. And I looked at him and I pointed and I said, for God. And as soon as I got for God out, poof, he was gone. But what I was going to say was, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. Jesus came in and was my protector in that. This is where the Bible comes into play, you guys. I'm a total believer in the Bible. I'm a total believer in God's Word. And I'm taking you on my journey now. Hope you're enjoying it. And I look forward to giving you part 4. Stay with me.